All right. It is showtime, everybody. I'm going to bring up my document. So we are live, have been live for 5 minutes, but we are live. It is August 17th, 2022, 8 o'clock p.m., and we are officially 17 days from kickoff. I hope everyone has enjoyed the cooler weather today. If you're out here in Oklahoma, we have just been blistered with 100 plus degree temperatures. But luckily today it was about 85, 80-ish at midday for it. So it was just very nice, especially for the cloud cover for that. Again, I want to welcome everyone to our Wednesday night live stream, as we would usually do for pregame. I'm your host, Josh, a.k.a. the OUFlagGuy, and I am joined by Gavin and Swiggy. Justin should be on momentarily for us. Gentlemen, how are y'all doing tonight?
Well, doing pretty good tonight. I'm just glad we get some cooler weather here in the state. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I'm very happy about that because it was a little surreal walking outside and it was raining last night going, it's already drying up on the street. Yikes. I am very, very happy about that, though. Very, very happy we got the rain. What else has been going on, gentlemen?
Not a whole lot.
Yeah.
Just
Same old.
Go ahead, Swiggy.
If you want hardcore opinions on Resident Evil, that's all I got going on right now.
It's okay, Swiggy. You got 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks until kickoff at this point.
Well, considering I beat the first game with invisible enemies, I think I need football back.
It's about time. It's about time for the football to be back. We're almost there. I mean, hey, week 0, even high school games are starting now. So we should be getting there very, very, very soon. So though, that all being said, we'll still wait for Justin. But you two, we're going to jump right into the question of the day. As I mentioned before in earlier live streams, they do not know these questions. So this is the first time they're hearing them. They cannot play for it. They can't write notes for it. They have to give me their initial reaction. So I'm going to roll a dice. Swiggy, pick a number between 1 and 10.
I'm going to go the best number, 8.5.
Okay. Gavin, number between 1 and 10.
Number between 1 and 10.
Number between 1 and 10.
6.
6. Justin, number between 1 and 10.
4.
4. Mm-hmm. Justin, you are the closest one. The number was 3. So, that all being said, Justin, I want you to tell me, do you want an easy question of the day? Do you want a controversial question of the day? Or do you want a super controversial question of the day?
Yeah, I'm feeling crazy. Give me super controversial.
You want super controversial. Okay, then you got to be the first one to answer. Okay?
All right.
Are you ready for it? Do you believe players should be paid? I don't care what the situation is right now. Do you think the players in college should be paid? Why or why not?
I say yes. And that's because I mean like actual compensation and not just like scholarships or anything.
Correct. NIL stuff,
yeah. I'm still gonna say yes because they put their bodies and health on the line, and they get a scholarship, but that just pays for the school. It doesn't really pay for like their injuries or anything, but I imagine the school pays for that. So I meant there should be some kind of compensation for college players. Not sure what that compensation should be, but there should be one somewhere.
Okay. Gavin, what do you got for me, buddy? Do you think college athletes should be paid? Yes or no?
Yeah, that is an interesting question, but I'm kind of have to go with the lines with Justin at this point.
Okay. Why? You can't use Justin's reasons. You gotta give another reason.
Okay. I mean, not only with the old bodies in the line though too, but I would also say there would also be other factors that would go into it. In fact, say like I know there's some kids that like have some hard decisions, and had to sacrifice a lot, that are kind of within the inner streets trying to make a living, and trying to be able to kind of help get like their family situations settled in and everything. I think that would be one of the other reasons, to kind of help these college kids get paid.
Okay. That's good enough reasons. Swiggy, do you think college athletes should be paid? Yes or no, and why?
Ethically, yes, they should. Ethically, yes, they should be paid. Just because they're putting their bodies on the line. College football makes billions of dollars, and just with everything, and just with the pie as big as it is, they should get something. The issue is me go into things about what happened with other sports that lose money, while college football is the one that makes money for a lot of these programs. What happens with them? Like, I guess would I want to see college football players paid if it causes schools to cut other sports and at the expense of other things? No, and that's me being super selfish with it, because I don't want to see other programs get lost because of it for football players. But like I said, ethically, yeah, they should be paid, but it's not. But of course, it's not as simple as just yes, pay them or no, pay them. Unfortunately.
Okay. And I haven't answered yet. Now, and disappoint you all. I'm going to say no on it, and I know that's going to come across as a bitter college student. And here's the thing: the way I asked it, it was a straight up yes, no. So I'm looking at it as very unconditional of other sports, everything. I'm going to be honest. I think the dirty secret is they are properly compensated while they're in college, from their scholarship to no student loans to the abilities to access like their own exclusive gyms to the clothes and stuff. In some aspects, sure, they're just wearing like the Nikes or the Under Armour for promotion stuff. But in my opinion, they really are. But now once you start getting into since they are, what do I think of NIL? What do I think of that? That's another story entirely for it. Now, that's the thing of, is it fair how they're compensated? That's another matter entirely for it. Yeah. But I'm going to be the controversial opinion. I'm going to say they're properly compensated. That's me. But that's me. So that all being said, though, let's move on to the topics, guys. As I said, Justin, you picked a very, very controversial one, and I wanted to get it out of the way. So, guys, let's recap a little bit of some of the big headlines from this week before we dive into our first topic, okay? So first off, guys, AP poll, OU came out at number 9. I think all of us predicted that OU was going to be anywhere between 8 to 12, depending on who all was voting, who all, like, how they saw OU under Venables, some of the chaos and everything that was going on. Does that make sense to you? Are you okay with OU being number 9? It matches the exact same thing as the Worthless coaches poll.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm fine with that, actually, because
it's like I said. Yeah, I mean, like I said last week with the coaches poll, I don't get Clemson being as high as they are, but I also, but for the most part, I don't hate it. It's going to be what it's going to be, and yeah, that's I just really don't have anything madly controversial to say, other than OU feels like they're in the right place at this point. And and as always, the initial poll is meaningless. It's just a way for TV networks to be able to put a number in front of matchups and say, they can't do with Alabama, Texas, but had Texas been ranked, they could have been number 1 versus number 23. That's all it is. That's all it is.
Justin, what about you? Do you think OU being at number 9 is fair to OU? Do you think they should have been higher or lower? Because you look at it from a different lens than Swiggy and Gavin and I.
Where did y'all finish last year by the end of the we all still in the top 25?
I mean,
we were
we were, but it doesn't matter because all that stuff has changed because of players that have transferred out, new head coach. Like a lot of that's just different.
Yeah, seeing that y'all changed change coaches, y'all changed a new quarterback. I would think a lot of positions. I would think starting as number 9 could be considered generous.
We ended number 10 last year.
And in
I had
number
to
10?
look it up. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe not okay, so maybe not super generous. Hang on, I think my mic's a little too close to my face.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay. I kind of felt a little bit echo from like this part. Okay. Yeah, so it's not overly generous. So if that's the case, then yeah, I think that's about right. Y'all definitely at least like top 15 that y'all usually are.
Yeah, and I agree with you there because like usually with the top 15, I hate saying it, but it is the truth with it. OU is usually set for like what is the expectation for a team like this to do? You should expect OU to be in the top 15 easily, Alabama in the top 15, Ohio State. I would be more surprised outside of like complete injuries like Texas is going through right now where they would be any lower than that.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, and I had to look it up, I'll be honest, gentlemen, the AP voter from, I'm going to call him out. I'm going to call him out. Ryan Pritt, the West Virginia AP voter, and John Clay, the Kentucky voter. I'm going to be honest. I do not know what they are smoking because they have OU at 16. I'm like, bros, they aren't that bad. Like, let's reel it in. Like, they have Texas higher than we do. Like, come on, guys. Like, let's try not to show our biases here. But then again, Brett McMurphy, I believe, was the only one who had Nebraska, like, really, really high, who gave them receiving votes for it. So, like, yeah, they were number 25. So it's like, is it biased? I don't know. Was there any teams you were surprised to not see in the top 25? For me, definitely Kansas State.
Yeah, I mean, Kansas State was probably one of those teams to where I feel like you should have seen in there easily within the top 25. I was just kind of going through and looking through and all of this. I've kind of have to kind of take a look at a little bit of my notes here.
I forgot. Matt Baker as well from Florida State, and he covers Florida State and Florida. He had OU at 20. Like, do you watch the games, dude?
That's way too low.
Yeah.
I guess the only I know they just missed. I don't know, maybe not just missed. I was kind of surprised that more people aren't drinking Tennessee Kool-Aid this year. But given how Tennessee's been run the past decade, it shouldn't surprise me. But I thought they'd be. I had Tennessee pegged as ending up in the low 20s, just based on how well things seem to. Just based on some of the buzz Tennessee has. But they have a new coach too in Heupel, so you never know.
Right. Anything else on the AP poll?
I was going to say, I think this is like the first time that LSU is not in the poll as well. That was kind of one big takeaway for me, LSU not being in there, because usually you've seen them so much over the years. LSU.
Texas.
Penn State too.
Yeah. There's some traditional powers that are not listed there.
And Florida.
Florida though has been in a downfall at the moment. Like, they already don't have trust in that coach right now. So I don't know if they even trust Florida. So Justin, anything else on AP poll?
Yeah.
No, I got nothing to add in that regard. I haven't really paid attention. I haven't really paid too close attention to that.
That's fair. It is preseason.
Okay.
And just go ahead, Gavin.
Yeah, okay. I was going to ask you this. Who do you guys think was ranked too high, in the AP poll? Who do you think is ranked too high?
Oh, easy. Clemson. That's not even a question. It's Clemson because Clemson, they have so much down on their, what's it called? Their offense. They've lost Brent Venables for it. They have to prove that they're really good. And I just don't see Clemson being that good. Same thing with Michigan. I don't think Michigan's a top 10 team. I don't think they're a top 15 team. I think they were fool's gold because of how many teams lost last year. I mean, Cincinnati got in because it was that wild of a year last year. I don't think they are.
I think this is gonna be an unpopular opinion. I think Arkansas at 19 is too high. I think they had a really good season last year, a surprisingly good season. But this kind of feels like one of those, take a step back seasons for them. I'm not buying into Arkansas as much. Could be wrong, of course, but Arkansas at 19 feels a little high to me at this point.
But then again, like the SEC West is like, I would say, one of the more powerful divisions, than I would say any other divisions that there are in college football, to be honest, at this point. I mean, I think if anything, I think the ranking is sort of justified because of how tough that division in the SEC is.
Okay.
That's fair. I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no telling. There's no telling.
Yeah.
On it.
Yeah. Justin, who do you think is too high or too low in the AP?
I know Justin's answer. Justin's answer is Memphis should be number 1.
Well, no, I'm not that big of a Tigers fan. Hang on a second. Let me look at this.
Who's the team that you root for?
I root for them, but I'm not like a huge fan. I'm more root because they're like the local team. But let me look at it here.
You're not a volunteer, are you?
No, no.
That's what I thought. I was like, it's either Memphis or
if you live in Memphis, you're this place is full of. We have a rivalry with Tennessee. Let me see.
You're more of you're all more closer to Arkansas than you are Tennessee at this point.
Wow, they have Cincinnati at 23.
They were. I mean, when you get blown out in the college football playoff, like
I'm surprised they're even in the polls. Honestly, they lost so many people.
I think they
that's
are.
Why they're down. That's why they're down. So that's why they barely made it.
Yeah, I also think too, like that. They made it in for the sole fact that they're going to go into the Big 12 next year, and I think that's
number 14.
And also, BYU is also going to be joining in as well too. So that was the other mention on that as well.
Yeah, I think they're both too high. Or I think for the two that I had, they were too high. Yeah,
I know Michigan's too high. Like, oh my God, you actually had oh my God, Harbaugh, you actually had one awesome year in Michigan. It took you like 5 years.
I mean, and he only made the playoffs because weirdly he only made the play. Michigan only made the playoff last year because of COVID, which is a weird thing to say. But Ohio State and Michigan got canceled in 2020, so instead of playing at Ohio State last year, they played at Michigan, and C.J. Stroud just could not play in the snow. Where like if that's a clear weather game, Ohio State probably ends up winning it. But hey, but weather's a factor, and you play with what you're dealt. But yeah, if that game's at Ohio State probably beats them last year and goes to the playoff instead. But
I bet it's kind of awkward. Didn't Harbaugh almost leave? I think didn't he almost take the Raiders job? I forgot what job he almost took.
Vikings job.
Vikings. That's Vikings. That's right.
Vikings.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is kind of awkward for it, but I mean, I guess he just got a better deal at Michigan. But it's what Sean said too. Like, he will believe in Michigan if he can beat Michigan State and Ohio State in the same year. Until then, like, he hasn't really proven anything.
Let's see, Michigan and his prestige. Or Kirk Cousins. I don't know. It's kind of hard. I don't know, guys. It's kind of a hard choice there.
Yeah.
Obviously, Kirk Cousins. That's the obvious choice, right?
Totally.
What were you going to say, Andrew?
No, I'm just saying the entire search, the entire Viking search was weird last year. Not to go too off topic, but like it's just very weird that Minnesota flew Harbaugh out just to like not fully hire him. Because if you're flying a guy like Harbaugh out, like I don't see why you don't hire him, but the Vikings are weird most years anyway, so whatever.
Yeah. It is what it is. Anything else on the AP poll?
Not that I can think up on the top of the head now.
All right, then we'll move on. A couple other things was, and y'all did not see it yesterday. TD Roof, the son of Coach Roof, is out for the season. He has a quad injury, and he was one of our linebackers. It's really a bummer because Venables mentioned that they do play like they're playing real games at practice. They want them to be prepared for it, and they don't want any setbacks or to get even further injured in actual games. That being said, it is disappointing because we did see and hear some good stuff about TD Roof going into the season. So maybe he'll redshirt and be back next year for it. I would assume so. I wouldn't see any reason why he would go to the NFL just yet. Or maybe he would. I don't know. But it is disappointing. We do lose one of our linebackers, and we'll just have to see who the next man up is at this point. It's not as devastating as a loss as it could be with some of our other studs, but it's still a loss.
Yeah.
Injuries are going to happen. It is what it is. It's just, can you overcome that adversity? And speaking of adversity, our next topic, the kind of recap, and I'm just going to go ahead and do it now. OU announced that we're striping the stadium against Kent State, September 12th, and I'm very disappointed because if you know me, you know I do not like striping the stadium. It's very Bush League, and it doesn't do anything because we either lose that game, it's either very close, or we have an injury. So I'm just like, oh, cool, something disastrous is going to happen against Kent State. And I know they do it every year, but I despise striping the stadium. I'm very passionate about it. It was cool one time. We lost against Notre Dame. We were forever cursed after that. So no more striping the stadium. It's a cursed habit, and it's Bush League. You know who does that? Oklahoma State. That's who does that. Yes,
what does that even mean?
What, Bush League?
No, like stripe the stadium.
No.
If you basically striping the stadium, Justin, is they will take sections and say, all right, you're going to be the red section. The next section over, you're going to be the white section. Back over, you're going to be red. It's basically what Tennessee does. Every section in the stadium is a color.
Okay.
I hate striping stadium. I hate striping it. Gets me riled up. I hate it.
They just be sure to wear the right shirt.
That's the thing. That's the thing that always drives me nuts is, oh, guys, yes, people show up in their white shirts. A, why are we striping the stadium at all during the summer? Yes, people are going to wear red. Why are we striping the stadium? B, they don't even provide the shirts for the people that are going to be in the sections for the cream or the white. No, you have to provide your own. Do you know how difficult it is to find a white OU shirt? It's very difficult. So
yeah, you don't want to have any stains coming out of that, or anything going on, or you have something to eat and have something spill all over you.
You probably spray your hot dog. You got mustard stains.
Yeah, like anyway, I know there are people who love stripe the stadium. I know it's just like, but it's for the family. It's the family game. If you notice, that's why they don't do it in the big games anymore, because they kept getting too close and or losing them, so they can't use their photo op for it. That also drives me nuts because we used that stripe the stadium against one we had against Notre Dame, and we lost that game. We should never use pictures that we lose. That's me. I'm gonna end there. People are probably going, "You're nuts! It's striping the stadium. Is this really the hill you're gonna die on?" Yes, damn it, that is gonna be the hill I'm gonna die on. I hate stripe the stadium.
Okay.
Anyway.
I've been.
Yeah, and that's what they did for. That's what they did. They do that for. I think we did that for West Virginia last year too. I believe.
Yeah, but West Virginia, it's like the one occasion.
Why do our conversations keep leading back to that damn game?
See, that's true. No, I'm wrong. I was thinking of 2020 West Virginia. See, 2021
no.
West Virginia. We strike the stadium, and you look what happens. They almost lost at home. Don't strike the stadium. Anyway, I'm done.
Oh my.
I hate striking the stadium. We're going to move on to something that I'm less salty and invested in for it. And it's a hill I'm not going to die on. If you didn't see it as well, tailgating was announced today. And everyone who's a tailgater was apparently salty, which is a very vocal minority for it, because OU announced that wherever the sides of the southeast corner of the stadium, it's going to be now private tailgating. They're going to basically sell spots for people to go tailgate to be across from the stadium. I personally have no investment in it, so I don't have a dog in this fight. But there was a pretty amount of salty people on there be like, this is not how we get people ready for the SEC. This is not how we promote it. I hate to tell people, like, a lot of people don't care about the tailgating, like, in this area, like, at least from what I've seen. And feel free, Swiggy and Gavin, to disagree with me for that. But I've never had that. We're not Ole Miss. We're not like Florida and Georgia in that respect. It's always just been kind of there. I don't know. They're just, I've seen so many where people were just complaining about it. And I don't know. I see more people say they're willing to pay to have a tailgate so they don't have to deal with people fighting for the spot versus not at all. Gavin, Swiggy,
We're not
Justin,
trying.
what are
I
your
don't know.
thoughts?
I mean, honestly, we're not going to try and go with the whole hottie toddy or trying to be like, I understand we're wanting to go SEC, but we're not trying to be that sort of SEC prestige of tailgate or anything. If anything, we got to just focus on what's going out there on the field.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, too. Like, it's the nice way of saying OU basically wants to say, if you're not coming to the game, guys, don't tailgate. Like, they want people to go into the game. They want people to go into the stadium. They don't want basically people tailgating. I mean, I don't know. Swiggy, how do you feel? Are you invested in the tailgate scene?
I have zero investment in the tailgate scene. I mean, I'm not sure. I'd like to know how other schools. I honestly like to know how other schools do it, to know how OU compares to it, just because I really have no idea if this is crazy or not. So I know there are people who do care who are mad, and I understand that, but I'm just not a tailgater. I'm not someone who does it a lot or enough, and I just don't know anything to have a big opinion. So my entire reaction is, man, I feel sorry for the people who do care, but I got nothing.
Yeah. Justin, it looks like you have opinions. What's your opinion?
One, I have a question. How early do you think those tailgate gators have to get to the stadium in order to do their tailgates last year for those 11 a.m. games?
For 11, they'll
They
get
got to
there
be
the
there
day
about
before.
5 a.m.
Yeah,
No, they get there the day before because they claim their spot for it.
Right.
But for actual tailgating for the early morning kicks,
Yeah.
I know you're being sarcastic on
Yes.
some aspects of it, but like they get there early, but then they want them out of there. Like you'll have until like 11 o'clock, and you got to go essentially. Like they don't want people there overnight for 2 days straight. And I think some of it is they just don't want, like, the police don't want to deal with the crazies. The people don't want to deal with it because I've heard so many stories of fans that are drunk and just lay on the railroad tracks. It's like, guys, like,
Plus, I mean, they are right on campus. This isn't like the football stadium is out of ways. It's right there.
Justin, isn't Ole Miss right on campus as well? Or is it, I know it's by the highway, right?
I can't say for sure because I've never been there, but I think it's not too far from the campus.
Because I remember, I feel like the stadium, like, if it was, I guess the way I look at it is, if it was a fair type of thing, I think I would care less about it because it's so far removed from the stadium for it. But with it being so close, like, I don't know, I'm just indifferent from it.
Yeah, that's kind of how I am, and I just don't know enough about it. Like, if there are actual problems with it, you have to at least at some point start doing spots like that. I'm guessing Alabama. I'd be surprised if like stuff like Alabama was still a free for all at this point too. But like I said, I just don't know enough about it.
Yeah, well, and again, don't get me wrong. If that's what people want to be invested in, hey, more power to them. But I feel like people are in a losing fight over that because they're like, open up more spots for it. Oh, do this. Let us have the South end zone. Let's have this. To me, it's like, if they're going to do that, then I get what I would do if I was a tailgater. And Weston's in the chat, so feel free to throw your ideas and comments in. I would honestly, what's the road by Dale Hall? I think it's Chautauqua. You know which one I'm talking about, Swiggy? Southwest corner of campus by the church and by like Papa John's?
It's been so long since I've been down that way. I think it's Chautauqua, but I honestly don't remember anymore. I honestly don't remember.
Andrew, I'm very disappointed. We were just at a game last year.
I know, I know, but I know, but I know, but I have not been like I've been on campus in the past 5 years, maybe twice. So I just don't remember.
I'm still very disappointed. It's Elm.
Oh,
What I would do, maybe it's me on it, and maybe it's because there's houses and stuff right there. It's different for it. Either Elm or the road right east of the stadium. It's right in front of the stadium. Like that one's the one that's escaping me. Shut down that road and let all the tailgaters be right there, and then problem solved, in my opinion. So. And Weston, I remember that. I remember Lindsay Street with it, but it always felt like, because Swiggy, you and I were in the same school time at that point, and
yeah,
I never felt even the Lindsay Street stuff. It was there, but it wasn't like this. I know it where it's like they talked about the LSU and the Ole Miss, and Justin, you probably know about the tailgates for the SEC, where they're like they bring out full dining set tables, have like the good fancy plates and everything out, and people come in like full suits and everything. Now, Ole Miss is an exception to the rule, but like people go all out for it. It's just I guess I've never seen that at OU, and they've never really encouraged it. I don't know. It's just I feel like if that was something, make Lloyd Noble's parking lot that. I don't know. That's just my opinion. Any thoughts on the tailgating? I know I probably ruffled some feathers on tailgating stuff, but I just feel like it's a lot of vocal, very loud minority that are upset about it, and OU's not going to change that.
I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to me one way or the other, though. I mean, I think if anything, if you want to tailgate, that's fine or anything, but I'm actually there wanting to enjoy the game experience, and I would just get something from the vendors or something like that, if anything. So that's just me.
Yeah. So, Justin, anything? What about from you from the SEC side of tailgating? Anything that sticks out over there outside of Ole Miss, because Ole Miss is the mecca of tailgating.
Yeah, I would say I knew at least a handful of Ole Miss fans down here. Like I said, I've never been to actual Ole Miss game down there, but if their games are anything like this, the Sugar Bowl, where like the Superdome was like, I want to say like 75% Ole Miss fans. I can't even imagine how the tailgate seat's going to be like, and what home games are like.
Don't get me started with Ole Miss, because like I'm not kidding you, like. They will bring everybody, I feel like, from the state of Mississippi to a sporting event at this point.
No, Gavin, I believe it. Because like I said, like at the Sugar Bowl, it was like pretty much, there's barely any seats for the Baylor. But we sat on the Baylor side or whatever, more like Baylor spots, really, because it was really too many Baylor fans there, at least since there's so many Ole Miss fans. Like, that's always, it was pretty much a home game for Ole Miss.
I mean, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to pick up the College World Series, for example. It was almost like 80-20, Ole Miss to OU, in the stands. Like, you were almost like at Ole Miss's baseball stadium, for that game. Like, I'm not kidding you. Like, anytime they hit a home run, it was just like, woo! We're just throwing beer. Like, they were christening the bleacher seats and beer.
Yeah.
They travel really well. Maybe not like Ohio State well, but really well.
Oh yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like Ole Miss for me is the exception to the rule of tailgating, because that's their tradition. Like that is just beyond just normal tailgating. That is their thing, and that's okay. That is completely okay for that. I just looked at it as looking at the rest. I just felt like people were just being loud for no reasons. And I don't see any legit ones. Like, I know Eddie was melting down like, OU being unfriendly to the fans again for a couple of handful of people who actually do go tailgate. Because at the end of the day, I feel like with like Ole Miss, they actually have like, again, using them as the example and the exception to the rule, that's their tradition. They bring out people who are going to be there every single week. OU doesn't have that. There's not going to be people that are going to tailgate outside of maybe a couple. They're going to have people who are like, they'll go there, call it one and done, move on with it. They're not invested like that.
I think we need more folding tables.
You sure there's enough of those in the world?
Hey, hey man, Bills fans can't own all of them. We got to just buy some folding tables and destroy them. That'll get the fans excited.
Oh, or
Yeah.
no. In this household, Andrew, we burn couches. No, we don't. we don't.
Bills fans wanted to freaking eat a folding table last year after they gave up 3 points in 13 seconds.
I mean, I would
That's
too
fair.
if I was. I mean, I would too if I was a Bills fan. So
That's good. Okay, let's move on to the next thing. Another thing that came out today. Well, it was this week, but I saw it yesterday. I think it was some info came out about EA Sports and next year's NCAA football game. And apparently they're trying to get rights and everything. They're trying to use the same one, I think, before to try to get everybody's rights. But it came out that some schools are not really giving them permission to do stuff. And two of them that came out was Wisconsin and TCU. I'm like, guys, what are you doing? Like, it's free advertisement, essentially. What are you doing? Like, I could not fathom of, we're good enough. Like, who are we going to put in there then at this point? Like, the Wisconsin Weasels? Like, Purple Baylor? Like, what are we going to put in there? Like,
cheese wheels? I don't know.
What's the mascot from South Park? The cows, the Wisconsin cows. Like, you can use the state; it doesn't matter. Change the logo like a little bit font wise or anything like that.
Hey, that's bad. It's gonna be even weirder for TCU because they have a unique mascot in the Horned Frogs.
Yeah.
And they don't even use that in the stadium. They use a frog horn. Yes, it's a frog horn. Whatever. So anyway, I'll move on. Last thing I got, and this one will lead into kind of our big kind of topic of the day for it. But did you all see today around 2, maybe 3 o'clock? It came out that the 12 presidents who meet with the college football playoff all kind of got together and said, maybe we do want to break away and form our own thing. And I bet you money, the NCAA is melting down right now of, how did we mess up so bad? Well, you have 45 years to fix NIL, guys.
This is a long time coming, to be fair.
Yeah. It's like, if anything that goes wrong, they just keep digging and digging and digging and digging themselves into the ground, and are not getting themselves out of it by any chance whatsoever.
And now they've dug that hole so far, their bodies are melting in the Earth's inner core.
Lack of vision. And see, Mark Emmert just has had a severe lack of vision ever since he's taken over the NCAA. Like, over the past decade plus, like really ever since A&M, and ever since Nebraska bolted for the Big Ten and A&M left for the SEC, the NCAA has needed someone with bold vision and a way to be able to get through these ideas without killing the golden goose. And he just has not been the man for it. He's wanted to keep. I mean, I'm not saying he hasn't done a few things. Like, there have been piecemeal changes, but not anything substantial. So
I have so much issues, too, and I kind of have to go back because, he was the one that basically put like so much issues. Like, I think with him and the NCAA's issues, and I'm going back all the way back to 2012, back towards the Penn State, stuff and everything. I still look at it like where, it's like they overstepped their hands so much that he basically put himself way down in the ground, with all the severe penalties and everything. And then now, we get like, the Baylor incidents earlier, it's just like, oh, now it's a slap on the wrist and everything, trying to almost go through this double standard.
Yeah.
It's like, he's just even a whole complete contradiction of all that's going on. In fact, and you guys would probably remember like the whole Miami situation and everything, with like, I guess one of the boosters or something. They basically, penalized Miami and everything. But then the NCAA, basically did a crappy job with the investigation, and it was like, oh, wait a minute, no, that isn't right. Okay, now Miami, you're on good terms. We screwed up. So it was like, come on, you got to get a hold of the program. It's like the whole lack of institutional control. Yeah, the NCAA is having really a lack of control at this point.
They haven't really will look back at it as the last significant thing the NCAA was able to do against was Reggie Bush and USC. I mean, I guess you could say Ohio State with the tattoo stuff, but I mean, the NCAA has just been so but the NCAA has just been so insignificant. All it's been there, and they've just been like the snitch hall monitor for the last couple of years, and even when there's big stuff that's going on, it's kind of like with Baylor just throwing up your hands and saying, well, since it wasn't technically totally related to football, we can't do anything. It's kind of like, then why do you exist if you're supposed to be all student athletes?
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of the big thing. And this is how I thought about that too. There was a convention I went to earlier in the year, and there was a sports panel, and they asked who is the worst commissioner or owner of sports. Everybody kept trying to pile on to Roger Goodell. And I was one that raised my hand and I said, look, I get it. I get your feelings with Goodell. The thing is, whether you like it or not, he gets stuff done. He may not be the most popular person in the room. And I'll be up front, Andrew. I'm not going to lie. I think it'd be fun next year to go to the NFL draft in Kansas City and do that in one time just to have it on my bucket list. But it's a meme at this point.
I mean, Goodell's only problem has been player discipline because it's seen as a kangaroo court, which, I mean, you're always going to have some kind of a gray area with it. But really and truly, if you look at what, the NFL's almost slavish devotion to protecting the shield does overall work out in the end. I mean, Adam Silver is too plugged into NBA Twitter and their terrible ideas. I don't think Manfred likes football. I don't think Manfred even likes baseball.
No, he definitely doesn't.
And Bettman is bad, but I'll just say this: I really don't know I don't know how you grow hockey in America. I'm sure they could maybe find someone, but you could do a lot worse. But you could still do worse than Bettman. So, but
exactly.
But Mark Emmert's the worst because he's actively seen the destruction of the NCAA. And I mean, saying he's been fiddling while Rome is burned is an insult to Nero at this point, because even Nero did more.
Exactly, and don't get me wrong. And I mentioned this too, where it was like, you can point to certain things, like in college football, everybody seems to trace back to the 1971 Cornhuskers. That's just kind of how it is. In this one, it traces all the way back to, I believe it's the OU Georgia suit against the NCAA. And from there, the NCAA has just kind of been there. They haven't done what they're supposed to. And when you get schools that do things wrong, they're too late for the ball. They'll investigate it 10 years later, or it's completely like, oh, guys, side note, since we are talking about this, I mean, let's just be honest, Missouri just got another postseason ban at this point. So it is on probation again. So, but it's like that. It's, we know North Carolina is cheating. They're going to get a slap on the wrist, but Missouri or Oklahoma State, who self-report, we're going to throw the ban hammer at you. Like, they're tired of it. So they're just going to go do their own things where they can actually manage it correctly with it. But I'm not surprised if these schools want to break away. I also think, too, these schools are tired of playing. Basically, if you're not in the top 64, they're tired of playing these particular teams, like these teams that don't mean anything. So anyway, I will say, though, we're going to mix it up the format a little bit tonight, guys. Instead of taking the full break, what I'm going to do is throw it in, and we're going to continue conversation for it. Save us about 15 minutes of time. So for tonight, though, we are going to start with our trivia question. I do want to see if any of y'all know. Initially launched as a part of Madden NFL 19, the Madden 99 Club is an exclusive club of athletes with a prestigious 99 overall rating, OVR, or deemed the best players in the game. The trivia question tonight is, OU is one of 4 universities with multiple players. For OU, can you name those players? Swiggy, Gavin, do you have any idea? Justin, do you got any idea who would be the OU ones?
I would say Trent Williams. Is that one of them?
That is one of them. He was this year's inductee, and he was the first one revealed for Madden NFL 23.
Okay. I gotta think AD somehow made the 99. Did he?
Yes, AD did make the 99. Do you know what year?
Oh, was it 13, 14?
I believe it was 14. You're on a ball.
Okay.
You got anybody else, Gavin?
Okay, I'm just trying to think here. Who else? Other OU athletes. Ooh. I'm
Same
just
thing,
trying to
Swiggy.
think.
We've got Trent Williams and we've got Adrian Peterson. Is there anybody else?
Thinking. I'm going through my mind here.
Okay, random. No, Gerald McCoy wouldn't have been one of those guys. No, I don't think.
I wouldn't think Joe Mixon would have been one of those guys.
No,
Joe
Mixon.
No, it wasn't Mixon. I'm trying to think.
I was thinking
here.
Gerald McCoy, but I don't think that's correct. Is it?
No, it wouldn't have been McCoy.
No, it's not McCoy.
Okay, because he was such a badass of a defensive lineman and everything too, and all that, and he had such a huge longevity. Tommy Harris had a short stint, but he didn't last that long either. I'm kind of going through a lot of these different players in my head, but man, that's interesting. I know we got Trent Williams, we got Adrian Peterson. Okay, and so Madden's been around since 1999, correct? And
no, earlier than that. Earlier than that.
Yeah,
like early 90s.
Yeah,
Early
I think
90s.
the first game was
91.
91 was the first 99 club. Let's see.
Okay, so
91 was because my understanding was the true 99 club didn't start till 19, and that they just retroactively did stuff.
I think they did I think it was retroactive, but let me think.
Let's see.
Here.
I mean, those two are. I mean, the two that I mentioned, those two are the ones that pretty much stand out on its own. Yeah. I'm just trying to think because, if you're thinking about with like some of the other OU. Wait a minute. Okay, I know this is. Okay, yeah, that's not. I'm not.
Yeah,
I don't know too.
Yeah, and I don't know too many former NFL Sooners. Hell, I didn't even know that Robbie Anderson was a former Sooner.
Yeah,
he was one of our better ones too.
I knew AP was. I knew Baker was. No, Joe Mixon was.
But I was okay. I know I'm going way back there, and I know I'm going to be laughed at for this. I'm thinking one of the Selman brothers, but I know that's completely wrong.
That's very wrong. Yeah. Like the true first John Madden football was 1988. So way off.
You guys don't want to know why I remember AP being with the Sooners.
Because of Boise State, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's why everybody remembers it.
Yeah, everybody remembers that. So yeah. Unfortunately, I'm stumped. I think Trent and AP were the only two I can get.
If I remember correctly, I think that the guy who coached that team was Doug Peterson, and is he still the coach for Washington, or did he get another job somewhere?
I think he's still the coach at Washington.
Okay, yeah, all right.
And remember, in this household, you two, Justin and Gavin, I got to call y'all out. Justin gets more of an excuse on this one since he's not an OU fan. It's AD, not AP. In this household, it is AD all day, Adrian Peterson, not AP. I know that's his name, but his actual nickname is AD. Anyway, are y'all ready for the answer?
That's not confusing at all.
Yeah.
1 second. I just want one more second to think.
If you say AD, I'm always gonna think of Anthony Davis.
Well, Adrian Peterson had it first.
Yeah, because of football, I'm going. Oh yeah.
I'm just trying to think. Trying to think of any other ones who they could be, and it just I honestly think it's the only two I can think of are Williams and Peterson. I'm just going through one more. I'm just going through one more thing. I'm sure I'm gonna miss someone. I'm sure.
What a question.
Oh, wait. What about, is DeMarco Murray maybe one of them?
No,
No, Murray
he
was
like
no.
he was like 97.
Okay,
I thought that too. I thought that
Because
too when they're like,
yeah,
I
that
thought
was
that too, Gavin, because initially when I was making the question, I was like, oh, Adrian Peterson. No, he is not. The last I saw, Adrian Peterson was a 96. That's what it was.
no. We're talking
DeMarco Murray.
DeMarco
DeMarco
Murray.
Murray.
Oh, DeMarco Murray. DeMarco Murray. Okay, I'm going to show the answer, okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
show it. I can't think of it.
Y'all were overthinking it, okay? It was just Trent Williams and Adrian Peterson.
Okay. I wasn't.
Yeah, see, I even know.
Yeah, y'all were overthinking it. It was just those two. But again, remember, that's still Preseason. I believe it's A&M, Pitt, Fresno, I think Fresno State, and OU are the only ones with multiple players in the 99 club. So congratulations to them. Definitely to Trent Williams, because he's the first actual like lineman on yeah. So anyway, let's hop back into the conversation. So let's talk about a little bit of topics for about 15 minutes before we move on to some other ones as well. So let's kind of talk about the state of college football. Let's kind of roll with that for the moment. Are y'all happy with the state of college football right now? Or do you feel like you're a little bit disconnected emotionally from it because of realignment, because all the money is now like popping out of McDonald's bags left and right? Like, how are y'all feeling?
I mean, that's pretty much every sport now.
That's fair, but now it's out in the open. But do you feel it tougher to be a fan?
Nah.
Well,
not really.
I don't feel that at all. I mean, honestly, I would just say this: just go ahead and just make like an AFC and NFC division, even though it's just like the Big Ten and the SEC. That's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have issues with that. I mean, at some point, it's going to move towards that. Do you believe that we're going to only have about 48 teams, maybe even 60, 48, 58, 60, like the top ones?
I believe it.
Yeah.
I could. Because at this point, the haves and have-nots have never been. I mean, the gap was always there, but it's just been widening, even with everything. Guys want to go where they can play on Sunday, and if you can't give it to them, no, they're not gonna. No, they don't want to play. No, they don't want to deal with it. So we are where we are. Whether it's going to be better for the sport to go to a more top-heavy centric system or not, that's yet to be seen. I mean, FCS. FCS has done okay for themselves, even with everything. So, it might be. I don't know. It might technically, competition-wise, it might end up being better in the long run, just because you have just because we will finally stop pretending like Texas Tech and Alabama are playing the same sport.
Right. Do you, in the long run, I guess, do you think people are going to benefit from it? Because I keep on hearing the tradition. Well, let's back up. We've always known money has always been a part of it. It's just always been under the table. And how well can you like escape from the overarching NCAA and get away with it, essentially? It's basically, do you like what it's been updated to? Do you think they're going too far away from what people say, like what they enjoy about college football?
I mean, it's like how Swiggy said, it's been part of the money run and everything else too. And honestly, it's like if you can find yourself to put yourself in a better position, and and I'm just saying this from the state of Oklahoma. I mean, Oklahoma's been going into this crazy growing state, for the last, I would say, few years or so recently, and especially with the fact that they're getting a lot more attention, notoriety, though, not just I'm just saying with college football, but just like in sports in general. In
Yeah.
fact, like with like we had the PGA that just happened earlier over here in Tulsa, and it actually, and I'm not kidding you, had like $159 million economy impact, for the city of Tulsa itself. And there were hotels, like I think they were even going as far as Oklahoma City just to book hotels
Yeah.
at this point. And it was just, kind of going to where it's like, it is starting to become to where more and more people are kind of seeing all the benefits and everything else to where it's going to represent just state itself, not just college football, but, as the state as a whole.
Are you happy with OU going to the SEC?
I am happy with them going to the SEC, and a lot of it is because of the tougher competition that they will have. Yeah, a lot of times I've kind of gotten a little bit more frustrated because it's like how with OU, with OU and Texas, they're the two giant brands when it comes to college athletics, and and basically have to where you're at the top of your game, plus like whatever money you get from the SEC, which has a lot of advertisements and revenue money that comes in. It's definitely going to benefit for the long haul. Now I know there are some people that still want to keep the traditions and stuff like that, and I mean, you want to keep them as much as you can, but when there's bigger opportunities that are going, though, you got to take those chances.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to cut those losses as well.
Yeah. Justin, is the SEC excited for OU and Texas coming to the SEC? Like, do they? I mean, for the SEC, obviously, they're looking at this as another different mentality altogether. But are they excited? Are you excited for it? Because OU is going to be rolling into town, potentially to face off against Tennessee on a regular basis. Maybe even be able to travel to even see that game just for fun.
Yeah, I'm more intrigued than I say right now than excited. I think I could end up being excited in the long run as you need to see how things play out, especially with Texas, because Texas has the thing about Texas for me is they keep saying that like Texas is back when there really aren't. So like you say, yeah, we're back, and then we go lose a home game to freaking Kansas. So, well, yeah, I was waiting to see how the games play out, but I'm intrigued enough.
What, with OU's move to the SEC, what matchup are you most excited for to see?
Like what matchup? Like whatever team I like to see them play.
Yeah.
I guess I'd be intrigued to see how y'all do against like either A&M or maybe Ole Miss. Actually, yeah, I'll say Ole Miss. I actually want to see. I want to see how y'all do in that hostile environment if y'all have to go there.
I mean, is it going to be any more hostile than we're used to when we gone to Tennessee?
Probably not. Well, but I'm actually it's honestly about the same. I'd say maybe Ole Miss might be a little bit. I think Ole Miss fans are a little bit more passionate than Tennessee fans, but it's pretty close.
Yeah.
I think if anything, I would say I would be interested of how we would do at Death Valley.
LSU.
Yeah, I would be very intrigued on how we can handle it in Death Valley with 100,000 people.
I mean, it's not going to be any different than Tennessee.
Yeah, or Ohio State, though.
Or Ohio State or upcoming Michigan. I don't think it would be any different than that. The only one I'd be more intrigued for, just because of the weather situation for it, would be what's it called? Florida and Swamp.
Yeah,
But
yeah. The Swamp has always been very interesting, but with the way things are going at the Florida program right now, it's kind of really hard to really gauge because it's like there's so much in a bad rebuild right now.
I guess so, but even then, I guess where I'm going with this conversation is, are you happy with like the overall state with it? Where right now, I guess the state of college football is, because of NIL, it's the wild, wild west. That being said, until they regulate it, we're going to keep on seeing these wild endorsements. We're going to keep on seeing these blank checks, even more so than they were before. That being said, a lot of schools right now are being feeder schools to these larger schools. I mean, to be fair, the running joke, and it's true, is Tennessee is OU's minor league feeder school where we're going to get their best players and then they're going to come to OU. I mean, that was the running joke for a while, and it kind of has been for that. Same thing with, I think, Washington, where it's the joke. But are you happy with that, seeing that some of these schools are getting richer? What about FCS? Are they going to see like the writing on the wall? It's time to form our own league. It's time to form our own playoff, even though they don't want to.
I mean, it's kind of getting to that point, though. If anything, I can definitely see that as an opportunity.
Yeah. But and then of course with OU and everything, it seems like the move to me with OU is it makes sense for us, and it seems like, I guess the big one I keep hearing, and I'm like, I just don't care if we play them again or not. Is everyone trying to keep bringing up the Oklahoma State thing? I don't care if we play them again or not. Like, I'll be honest, there's no benefit for us for it, but that's me. That's me for it. Swiggy, what do you got?
And
I mean, it is what it is. It's kind of like as long as the competition and fun is there, no one's gonna care who you play. Like some of the smaller stuff, some of the rivalry, some of the trophies are really, really fun when you're it's like, when you're going through like a mediocre season. But like I said, right now it's just a bunch of teams playing different levels of the sport. You have, Alabama is very, the way Alabama is very high, right? Is playing high level football right now. We want to play high level football. I know Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State does want to do it, but Oklahoma State is also, it is what it is. Do I hate kind of losing tradition with it? Sure, but at the same time, new traditions got to start somewhere, and some the past got to die. So,
do you think that it's going to be? I guess here's my question for y'all: what do you care more about? Do you care more about if we actually did? Because our tradition has been gone for a while. Do you care more about tradition of being able, let's use Oklahoma State, play them again, or would you rather see you play the big helmets of Alabama, Georgia, LSU week to week? I want you to be honest. What would you rather see? Because I'll be honest, I'd rather see the big helmets. Everyone keeps saying we lose the tradition, but I'd rather see the big helmet.
Yeah, I'd rather watch it. Yeah, I would rather go and see a bunch of. I'd rather go and see, but like, and I think some of it too is playing into the perception of how college seasons are supposed to go if you're successful. Like, just due to so much guppy competition, 1 or 2 lost seasons seen as a success. Whereas we move more towards an NFL model. 8-5 in a bigger league, you're playing some bigger games. That could be a success. That could be a successful season if you're going out if your quality losses are like Ohio State, Michigan. No, I'm not saying you want to lose those, obviously, but if you're going big helmet versus big helmet, it's going to happen.
Exactly.
You can't just. I think some people are going to have to reassess what success is going to mean in college in the next couple of years.
Right. I mean, that's kind of goes to the same thing, though, is when you're reassessing it as well, who cares past probably the top 48 teams if concerning FBS, if we're talking the big name schools?
Yeah.
Gavin, sounds like you have an opinion.
I think the other part too. I do. Oh man, it's so torn because for me, I would love to play in the big helmets day in and day out, but what's really hard about this too, and I live in the area that's mostly a lot of OSU faithful around here. A lot of them has been on the whole this more of an issue of despite and grunts, if anything, about going to this move in the SEC. because it's just like Big Brother's just moving away, if anything, and we're not going to be able to see them again for forever. It seems like. But it's like I always look at it. It's like I would rather do like how like Georgia Tech or like Iowa State do. Like look, we'll see it maybe like once a year or something though too. But it's still we still got to go on our own path or something like that. That's just kind of where I look at it. I know it's not gonna. How likely it was that I don't see it, but that's just kind of where my thought process is and all that.
Yeah. What about you, Justin?
Sorry, I had a message there. Can you repeat the question?
Just would you rather prefer seeing the big helmets face each other weekly, or would you rather have the tradition? Even if the tradition is like you're facing like a rival that meets you once every 10 years type of deal.
I probably do the traditional route because every once in a while, a lot of these bigger schools, they probably might need like a tune-up game to get their crap together a little bit, and then like the very next week you play like a rival, or at least not that I say should be every other week, but maybe like sneak in maybe like 2 of those kind of games, maybe mostly like early on, kind of like it's doing now, and then maybe like the rest of the year just beat the crap out of each other, kind of like they do in the NFL.
Yeah, which makes sense. Gentlemen, do you have any other final words on just the state of college football before we bring up the schedule and kind of move on into Gavin talking about some 5A high school football?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. I'll add this up there so everyone can still see that the schedule hasn't changed, except for that Iowa State one. We don't talk about that one with it because it's a Saturday game now. But Gavin, let's talk a little bit about a high school football. What does 5A have in store for us in Oklahoma?
Oh boy. So 5A last year was quite something. And of course, I'm just going to say this. Shout out to my alma mater for Collinsville actually winning their first title in school history. So pretty happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
But as much as I would love to say it, chance of repeating does not look likely at this point. And a lot of it is because they only have like 2 players returning on offense and 3 players returning on defense, coming this year. So they are basically going to be in a rebuild. But that being said, and there's also a lot of changes that are going on. Both Midwest City and Del City are now in Class 5A. And that has made Class 5A a lot tougher this year. And if you have like all 3 of the Midwest City, Del City schools in that same class, so it is going to be a long year. But I think if anything, the toughest district I would say this year, Class 5A2 is going to be the hardest because you got the top. I would say 3 out of the 4 teams in that same district. Carl Albert, Bishop McGinnis, Guthrie, all in that same district, and it is going to be basically a bloodbath in that district for this year. It's going to be something that I think is going to be a, district that everybody's going to be able to watch and see. And in fact, I'm going to just say it. It's, between Carl Albert and Bishop McGinnis, I think Carl Albert, finally basically goes back to winning the gold ball this year.
Any particular reason why?
A lot of it is that they got a lot of players that they have coming back. In fact, one of the players that they have that are coming back, I just had him. Tashawn James, he's actually going to be doing pretty good with this year. Xavier Robinson, he's an absolute beast. And, and they got like such a good running back core and have like a good offensive line coming back to where I just really think, if anything, it's going to be good. Now, Bishop McGinnis is probably going to be in the state title game as well. They are going to be having some good running back play from Mike Taffy. He's going to be pretty good as well. And, it's going to be one of those competitions to where I think it's going to be those two will be lining up for the state title.
Do you have any dark horses for 5A?
I would say the dark horse this year. Grove would actually be my dark horse, who's actually coming out of class 4A this year. And they actually have a very talented running back, Emmanuel Crawford, who just went over 2,000 yards last season. And he is what I'm considered like a very good Power 5 sleeper. Because right now, Air Force, I think is the only one that's able to get him to offer at this point. But he is going to be someone I would really think, to watch out for, and for that team of Grove, because it's going to be, a pretty good, good team to watch out for out east. But with that being said, Grove also is going to be in a bit of a tougher district because they're also in that same district within Collinsville and Bishop Kelly as well, along with Pryor, and that district is usually pretty tough out, around that side usually for the last few years, where Collinsville has won like the last 3 out of 4 district titles in that district alone.
So then who do you see then in the at least the playoffs for 5A this year, barring any like craziness?
Well, I will say, and just a reminder, usually whenever you have these districts and everything, it's usually the top 4 in each district. So, Collinsville, I can see them making it in, along with Bishop Kelly. Ardmore is also going to be in it as well. McAllister, who has Eric McCarthy, who's signing on with OU, and who's going to be a defensive back. They're also going to be in it this year as well. And I'm also going to want to make sure you kind of keep your eyes on Coweta, because they will definitely be a team to watch out, because they're a good dark horse. And what's interesting, note, week 0, August 26th, mark your calendars on this. Carl Albert travels to Coweta. And this is very rare that they have this happen. Very rare that they come on over from the west side of the state to the east side for week 0, and basically play as a as a top 5 matchup in Class 5A.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Anything else to wrap up for 5A?
I would say, if anything, I would just say kind of keep your eyes out and everything, because I think week 2 will definitely be interesting. Battle of the Bishops will be going on, and I would say for Ardmore, they might have a good team this year as well. So 5A, I think it's going to be a lot of West Side dominance this year. So if you're on the West Side, you ought to be very excited for how it's going to look this year.
Awesome. Thank you, Gavin. Appreciate it. Let's hop right in now to some NFL stuff from Swiggy and Justin. First off, what is y'all's thoughts, since it is OU related, about the ranking of decreasing Kyler Murray? I think he went from the 30s to like the 59th best player in college and the NFL. Do you think they're underestimating it because of those rumors about him needing those like 4 hours, I think, or whatever, of dedicated study time?
What's up with that? What's up with that?
Not really. I think the way you have to look at Kyler Murray is the second half of the last 2 seasons, he's fallen off. He's going to be missing DeAndre Hopkins for a long time this year. As much as we'll see what they can do with Hollywood Brown now, but that's an unknown. And he was legitimately bad in his playoff game last year. So right now, I feel Kyler is where he probably should be. It's kind of, he has talent. I'd say he's deserving of that contract with the way the NFL treats QBs now, how important it is. But, you have to put up or shut up at some point. And until he puts it up for a whole season, that's where you're going to be. That's why Derek Carr's in the 80s. I think Derek Carr was in the 70s or 60s. I forget where he was. But, so you have to prove you can do it. You need consistency.
Yeah, Kyler is pretty much the NFC version of Derek Carr, though obviously Kyler has a lot more upside. He's a lot younger. But honestly, I agree with everything Swiggy said. I'm also gonna add on that there's only so far you can go with your receivers, not receivers all around. They kind of can't stay healthy. And another point I'll add is there's only so far you can go with Cliff Kingsbury as your coach. I just don't think he's a good I just don't think he's a good coach.
I don't either.
Okay, here's the thing, and I will say this: Cliff Kingsbury, it's no matter what, he always gets a giant souffle that's always, brings down the oven and it looks good for like the first 20 minutes. But then when you get to around like 30 minutes or 40 minutes, then you start to see the aftermath of it, where it just deflates and it just looks like a sad little piece of dough that just was like trying to be something it wasn't.
It's like eating a very, very, very your favorite really good like piece of like cake or pie. It starts out tasting really good and then gets a really, really bad aftertaste.
Yeah.
And this keeps getting worse and worse. And then you have whatever the hell Kyler was last year in the Rams game.
Yeah.
What the hell that was.
But the only thing I will say, and this is the only thing I have, is that even though Kyler will have like a really good arm though too, and even though he has the mobility, I'm just not sure if that mobility will last him, any longer if he starts to suffer any more injuries. Though that's the only other thing. Because when you start getting injuries, and we kind of seen this with Lamar Jackson. I mean, it's one of those things to where I just think, if anything, like, the mobility part, that could be your greatest strength, but it could also be your greatest asset. I mean, we can probably look at like RG3 as an example. Once his ACL was torn, he had to basically redo all of his game.
Yeah. I was just curious on it. What about preseason games this week? Anything that stands out to you with like the Bears and the Seahawks, Saints, Packers, Lions, Colts, anything?
Not. It's preseason. I mean, it's preseason. It's a chance for guys to try and make the team. I do think this is the week that Baker puts the QB competition away. He seems to have pulled away at least enough from Darnold that right now I'm guessing he's going to be the starter, but still have to technically wait and see what Matt Rule decides. But I think it's looking good for him to be a starter and a chance to rebuild some value in a contract year in Carolina.
Yeah. Well, how do you feel about Baker's performance on it? Did it surprise you? Did it not surprise you?
Nothing about Baker has surprised me, but I've also spent like the last 4 years watching everything Baker. So
I guess what I mean is, were you surprised that he started preseason?
No, not at all. No.
Really?
I'm not surprised either, because Baker's a much more better talent and has the better arm than Darnold does at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where whenever you're in a QB competition like Baker and Darnold, guys are going to start, and at this point, I mean, we said it before. Matt Rule is coaching for his job, so he really can't afford to just say, "Oh, Baker's definitely the starter," and we're getting behind and we're going through with him, and then 3 weeks later, oh no, it's Darnold. So no, both of them are going to get as many reps and as much of a look as possible.
Gotcha.
And what's surprising was that I was reading that I guess the OC for Carolina, who was like a huge critic of Baker Mayfield, is really starting to really kind of getting behind Baker quite a bit more.
Probably because it's he's seeing Baker in a different light.
Yep.
His job relies on Baker doing well too.
Yeah,
now,
so he can't make him
too
upset.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's I mean, OC didn't like quarterback and then gets quarterback and loves him. Tale as old as time.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. It is what it is. Like I said, I do think I think Baker is at least. I think Baker's putting himself in good. Baker's putting himself in a good position. Carolina, whether he'll be whether that sticks with it or not, we'll see. Because it's been times where I've thought Baker has looked like easily a top 15 NFL quarterback. And then there are times where I'm like, man, this guy's a bottom 5 NFL quarterback. So we'll see it. So we'll see how this season goes. But I mean, he has enough talent. He can last a few. He can definitely last a few more years, or even another 10 if he takes backup jobs, because he's not that bad. So
Makes sense.
he's still like that's the thing. For as much as we talk about Baker, and for as much as even I've been down on Baker for various reasons, like the Christmas game against the Packers and everything, even still being one of the 30 people who can play, being one of the 32 people who can start a quarterback in the NFL. I mean, that's guaranteeing you a slot in, at least a slot in camp every year, and the chance to start, and eventually starting at some point, probably. I mean, look how long Fitzmagic has lasted, and look how long Fitzmagic lasted in the NFL just by being a backup. So,
right.
I think that's worst case scenario for Baker is like backup, but but who knows what happens with him.
Right. I guess the only thing that I'd have to add too is just keep in mind too, this week Madden NFL 23 comes out. That's why I had that question for y'all for it, because the 23rd edition, which was the 22nd edition, which was the 21st edition, which was also the 2020 edition, this was all the same. Yes, Justin.
Now just like this made dish, I was like, how many dishes are there?
A lot, but the running joke with Madden is they don't update anything. It's just very minor things, and even the bigger one is like they don't even change it. They've gotten caught where it's like FIFA where they don't even change the dates, like where they left it. Well, it's just the same thing.
Well, there's a lot. So you're going to hear, okay, so you're going to get a minor nerd rant from me, so I apologize ahead of time.
Oh, go right ahead.
A lot of that has been EA over the last couple of years, basically forcing everyone who works for them to move over to the Frostbite engine. And if you want to know why Mass Effect went so bad, if you want to know why oh wow, I forget the other game BioWare did. Anthem. I think it was Anthem. Anthem did so bad. It's basically Dice built a great basically they built a great game engine for FPS shooters with the Frostbite engine. Here's the problem. It has not worked for anything else for years. We're in, I think, it might be, and I might be misquoted here but I think we're in like year 7 of them trying to make it work. And so there have been a lot of problems with it. It hasn't been so much as the devs being lazy, as this engine is not made for sports games. And they've had to rebuild everything from scratch. Like, for perspective, with Mass Effect, if they were using the Unreal Engine, well, it's built in that you can have a party selection screen. Unfortunately, Frostbite does not have that, so they had to build that from scratch. It adds time, it makes things harder, and instead of fixing things, you get a lot of duct tape and paper clips holding everything together. So there is a reason why Madden has degraded over the last seemingly decade or so, and it's been because of EA. So we'll see. Maybe this is the year they write things. Maybe this is the year the engine's finally up to snuff and everyone understands what's going on. But so just saying that it's not. Part of it is a cash grab because they do want to do it every year, but another part of it is just it has been that hard to develop the game over the last 7 or so years.
Right. And that's some of it too is like they keep releasing things when it really should be every other year, if that, every 3 years, just do it as DLC.
Yeah.
Like every couple years. I mean, is it a disservice to the new players coming in? Maybe. But at the flip side of it too, it's like how much can you sell? I guess the same game over. Look at FIFA. I mean, there's people that have the same thing where it's like, I'm just going to keep reviewing this as I did in the several years until they actually make a brand new game. So, yeah. I don't blame them.
Yeah, and speaking of video games and everything, if any of you guys still have the old NCAA 14, I've actually saw the story and everything that was a couple weeks ago, and they actually have done a actual modification of all the Oklahoma high school. Well, not all of the high school teams, but like most of the Oklahoma high school football teams here in the state, and they have actually got like your teams and everything, kind of get the stadium layouts and everything, and you can actually get that as a mod now on the NCAA football 14 series.
Right. There's a couple states that have the high school teams.
Yeah. No, I'm not kidding you. These are actually there's like a couple of guys that are actually here in Oklahoma that used to be high school football players that are actually modding and actually have done all the designs of the uniforms, stadiums as well, even designed UCO stadiums, which is the site of the state championship game as well, where they've actually have kind of been adding on to all of that, and they've actually have started to kind of get a lot more and more people across the state actually getting back to that old NCAA games and actually downloading that mod itself.
Yeah. Which makes a lot of sense for it as well with it, because eventually that was going to expand to high school football, especially as we see with college. So, gentlemen, we've reached our time for our Wednesday stream. Any final thoughts, Swiggy, Gavin, or Justin, for this week?
No, I'm pretty good.
Not on my end.
All I got, nothing. Yeah, nothing other than go Sooners.
Exactly. I will tell each of y'all, since y'all are in the fantasy league, as I told Swiggy, I came up with my fantasy team name this year. And it's fantastic, and y'all are going to groan, but it's going to be fantastic.
Is it Trump's Tacos?
No.
That's so 2016. Give him some credit.
Yeah, give me a little bit of credit. So for those still watching, our theme this year is food for our team names, which Kayla is probably very happy about because she can stick with Miracle Muffins for year 6. It's the tradition that will never die. But I came up with the perfect name. I looked it up. I'm like, yep, that's what I'm going to roll with. It's going to be Goff's Fantastic Turnovers, because he is the single most turnover machine in the NFL since like 2019.
Okay,
Goff's Detroit style. So.
Oh goodness.
Anyway.
Okay, I'm about to drive over there and throw you out the window.
Awesome. I'll take you to an OU game for it.
Yeah.
Guys, let's wrap up. So I want to thank Swiggy, Gavin, and Justin again for joining us for the Wednesday night stream. I also do want to thank all the new subscribers to the channel. Ray, Danny, and Adam. I start wanting to do shout outs for this month. So guys, thank you all for subscribing. I hope you are enjoying the content that we are providing. Be sure to comment, rate, subscribe, and hit the notification bell at the upper left or right hand corner for it, so you know when we go live. Again, during the regular season, Mondays and Thursdays, I'll try to post like some extra videos that are nowhere near as long as a live stream for it, and will be pregame and postgame, as well as catch our Sunday games. join us next week as we are then like one more week from basically the August until we get into pre-game mode. And next week we're gonna have basically a community day. So people who want to come on live stream, talk to Swiggy, Gavin, Justin, or me, we'll throw the link into the chat. We'll probably do these once a quarter. Let the audience interact with us, get their thoughts on stuff, any topic on their mind for it, as well as we're just gonna swap stories for the next on that day, just swap stories about football and some of our favorite interactions with fans, games, anything along those lines. We're going to have some interaction there for it. Because again, we have 1 week and then we go right into pregame mode for our Wednesday shows for it. So again, guys, I want to thank y'all for joining. And for sure, as you probably also know, as I keep putting it up, our first game of the season is against UTEP Saturday, September 2nd at 2:30 p.m. Central Daylight Time. Daylight, not standard.
Wait,
Daylight
I thought
time.
it was the third. Wasn't it the third? It's the third.
Third? Is it third? I
Yes.
marked the date wrong. Oh, well, it's the third. It's the third. It's the third. Whatever. So, regardless, it is the third for it. And
you put the wrong date down.
It is what it is. I know it's on a Saturday. The second, third, potatoes, you know. Regardless, we have a game here in about 2 weeks. So, Justin, Gavin, Swiggy, I want to thank y'all for joining again. And remember, stay awesome. So, Boomer Sooner, only one Oklahoma, guys. And I'll see everybody Sunday for Sean and my show for it. And then next Wednesday, talk to y'all then. Boomer.
Boomer.
Peace.
Boomer.